Welcome. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2023 at the time of this recording, and my name is Melissa Cody Prater. The title of this presentation is OverUnity and HuHub, Walk into the Future, produced by Capetronics R&D Energy. It features AI-generated art of interior architecture and exterior parks and landscaping concepts using scientist Brian Prater's formula for OverUnity. This presentation aims to show the big picture we have at Capetronics for HuHub humanitarian software beyond the development stages of the software itself. And herein the information should explain how HuHub can unlock our world by focusing on people and processes. The agenda for this presentation is to illustrate our vision of HuHub humanitarian software, what that should look like as a software, and how HuHub users operate within both HuHub's digital environments as well as their real-world local community hubs. In the first section, Game Plan and Strategy, we'll review some of the things we've already discussed, but this time bring some of those pieces together to help you formulate your understanding of HuHub and how it flourishes in its nested environments that we want to branch everywhere in order to truly help humanity in a way that has never been done on Earth. In the second section, Poolside Agile, we discuss team strategies for sales and marketing, which will lead us into an idea how to make HuHub even more viral by unlocking the potential upward development of local area hubs worldwide, starting our focus on the United States of America in the first phases. From there, we'll explore some architectural examples of Goodwill OverUnity city restaurants, cafeteria, shopping, and community centers to include dance stop themed nightclubs. This presentation should tie a lot of things together for your better comprehension of our vision at Capetronics R&D Energy and HuHub. Every successful sale starts with the introduction. HuHub is a way to bring people together by giving them something to truly hope for and inspire them to work to build up their local areas in their hub. So it seemed fitting that we should begin this presentation in the public at a nature park. Part 1, Game Plan and Strategy. In this first section, the information will be an overview of some of the things that has already been discussed in prior videos as we piece all of the pieces together. This presentation looks at what happens once the software for HuHub is complete and available to the public. From the perspective of business-to-business sales and marketing, HuHub can be established from small to big as it grows. This presentation offers some visual sampling and other information about the software and its appearance. However, this presentation will focus on sales and marketing and the benefits to local city hubs after completion of the programming and implementation of HuHub humanitarian software. These slides are AI-generated examples of OverUnity landscaping, architecture, and art, which represent our vision for Goodwill OverUnity cities, which could potentially grow up from under or out of existing cities rather than require their own funding and development. Either way, HuHub could help to unlock the greater potential of local areas and/or Goodwill Also, the backgrounds, which you will see in the first section of this presentation, depict natural scenes outdoors, and they are a few examples of the digital environments for the future HuHub software and social media pages that present local hub features. The following examples of HuHub environments, website, and page details are not presented in a particular order of priority and offer only a small sample of these types of pages and what those should look like, because in the future there will be thousands of various pages and formats, even within a standardized platform like HuHub, in order to accommodate for the massive number of variables throughout world systems. Energy can't be created or destroyed. Why do we keep paying for it? We're told that we pay for the infrastructure, but that's crumbling. We are serious about change at Capetronics R&D Energy. In bringing many related pieces together for this video, it's important to start off reviewing the technology that I have described in previous videos, which are prudent at this juncture in our human evolution experiences. This video will concentrate on what is right before us, which is our world and current technology. That is our baseline for knowing what can be done and what must wait for further research and development, such as medbed technologies that may be 20 years in the future after we correct many other problems first. So, to briefly review, a couple of the technologies we have discussed for residential homes are solar heater window units and small TPUs. The first are solar heaters, which attach to windows that work to heat rooms in homes by pumping in hot, fresh, filtered air and are controllable by thermostat. Those cost about $400 per room unit. I will add though, however, some of these prices may have already varied a lot due to soaring inflation across all markets. Secondly, small TPUs about the size of 5-gallon buckets reharvest the magnetic fields to deliver safe, noise-free, grid-tied backup power for whole homes and would cost about $50. But those devices need to be manufactured like everything else, which requires funding to do so. Yet, it is a very feasible solution that does not cost a lot to start up. Unlike the programmable matter machine, which will need many more years of research and development and a lot more money before the public can really expect to see those on the store shelves. However, once again, they are doable, and Brian Prater claims he knows how to make them. And just in case you missed my additional information in a following video after I talked about the programmable matter machine, it does have to be fed some type of matter, like old, rotten, or discarded food or trash. And from there, it can convert that into anything, just like new again. So far, when it comes to science, engineering, and inventions, Brian Prater's at the top of the list of people who can bring what seems like impossible science fiction technology into reality. This presentation is aimed at the people rather than corporations. So I'm going to keep my focus on the technology to be manufactured and sold to the public. So a third technology that I will mention now that I haven't before is solar hybrid water pumps for communities that need water. And even here in the United States, some places are experiencing those types of problems now. These are the types of practical and yet sustainable technologies that we plan to build and implement in the future and use in the cities that I will be describing and showing examples of in this presentation. One more thing. I want to verbally establish the direct relationship between Brian Prater's formula for OverUnity and how that is applied to both the energy generation systems he prototypes, but also HuHub humanitarian software's concept is deeply embedded with OverUnity. In previous videos, I have provided some information about how HuHub can interact as a medium between government and the people. HuHub is a place that finds the lost sheep and brings them into the fold as part of our decision-making network. HuHub will provide a standardized platform that people can learn to maneuver through with the help of a web wizard. That's an official software term. We think this is a good idea because HuHub will be an extensive software and it does humanity no good if they don't know how to navigate it. And most people won't read a long manual, including myself. So this slide's appearance may in the future represent the look of HuHub's digital environment for various communications between the people and their local hub's representatives, starting at the most basic level of towns and city governments up through state and then federal levels, just like it is currently set up. HuHub is adaptable and can be adapted to any governmental structure, such as instead of states in the USA, Canada has provinces, and other places in the world may go by regions. This slide reminds me how OverUnity embeds into its environment. And I just wanted to point out that, as you can see in the image, obviously in the lower center, there is a display of rings in a pile. Yet there are 3 more of those types of rings scattered in the image to match the surroundings, such as, starting visually from left to right, the pink sidewalk, the light blue water in the middle, and the yellow budding trees to the right. Perhaps these images will inspire people by their beauty and seed their future behaviors to affect their local environments. We believe beauty should not be kept for the wealthy only. Rather, as the heart of the Holy Sephiroth and the Kabbalah, HuHub's goal is to spread beauty everywhere. Beauty can awaken or reawaken the senses, and I believe it can act as a cure. The medicine begins in the mind, but bypasses the brain beforehand, entering first through an intellectual sense tied to the understanding of the principles of the OverUnity embedded in its visual programming, which activates the heart chakra and the center chi. And then a person becomes aware of beauty. This process can change a person's state of mind, their mood, and instigate new thoughts and ideas, triggering events in the real world, as we will discuss in the next section as we ripple on out. This slide is beginning to look more how I visualize the HuHub digital environments. And when I say digital environment, I am speaking about the background and overall appearance of what will be HuHub's web pages made for the public. HuHub's platform will provide a standardized layout concerning positioning and navigations, as well as various features. The information that appears in the standardized pages or environments, as we see here, will change according to your hub. As a user, you can locate a hub, choose a preferred hub, and adjust your user settings accordingly. You can jump to another hub, either up to a larger region or jump down into a smaller, more localized hub. Your hub may be identified by the zip code, GPS, or some other method. And when you change the location of your hub, such as the zip code seen here, the information, the data aggregated, will appear on the standardized environment and will match the information for that area or hub. So in the future, as we develop the software, we may want to adopt some slight variations to the appearance of hubs to visually offset one from another, especially in tight hub groupings. Such variations could equate to the environment background design, which the users in that networked hub may choose to reflect the preferences or local flavor of the HuHub users living in that area. For example, here in Salem, Missouri, a lot of people really like horses. And because I have a lot to unload in this presentation, I brought out the horses to help deliver this message. I hear in the chatter that we're still delivering a product in lockstep with the New World Order types, but I assure you we are not them. And though our agenda may look similar, we have never worked with them at Cavetronics or HuHub, and these are our ideas as given to us through our intellectual and hard work pursuits, and then developed by our hands without so much as a phone call with any entity other than those previously named, concerning hundreds of emails and similar communications that I have sent out to them, but never the other way around. Nor have we ever communicated with people like Gates or Hollywood types about these or other technologies we have described and will continue to talk about. So we continue to push forth our agenda to free the people and ourselves with open source technology, because we have been pushed to the brink of annihilation otherwise. It is this state of free fall, with no hope of a future and no net of help, that drives me to get this message out. I miss talking to people. Nowadays, people talk at each other without feeling anything at all. That is a shift in human behavior and society, which I somewhat attribute to how the internet controllers divided up people from talking to each other. When the internet was introduced to the public, it was all about chatting with other people, mostly on bulletin boards via real-time live chat through text. Communication and talking are important for humans to do because our words act as light when we speak truth. Communication is so important to our survival, and HuHub makes it a fundamental part of how and why it operates, or rather will operate in the future when the software is developed. While on the topic of chatter and communications, I'll leave the self-explanatory evidence of some work on the slide for you to read. And I would like to add that if you learn anything while you watch this video, please consider contacting me in the real world via email. I would love to hear from real humans who are interested in helping to make change happen to our benefit. Part 2. Poolside Agile. Hello team. Welcome to the pool house. These artistic and architectural concepts blend Brian Prater's OverUnity formula with sunroom style areas and bright colors. In this section, we will continue to explore more examples of digital environments that will become part of standardized pages in HuHub. Then we'll take a tour around the pool house as we head to the training room. For programming staff that may be viewing these videos as training materials or to better get an idea of the software, please note that I tried to present the information using some logical addressing to show somewhat of an idea of how the file tree structure should be formed in the database, which may offer some clues to the overall provisions in the software. This slide's environment, for example, I have named Pink Flamingos, which is a room inside the community pool house. The room, so to speak, is the environment, and here we have the Pink Flamingos room, and it is brightly colored in case you need to find this list of definitions later for sales training purposes. It's easy to see. This list you see here focuses on keywords, roles, and positions that are related to HuHub marketing and sales, which will be discussed throughout this presentation. Every time I come to this slide, I'm reminded how much I want a vacation. Each of these environments uniquely possess certain energies that sway us in very almost predetermined directions. Even as I am scripting a new narrative for these slides that were a part of a previous video about Goodwill, I find myself triggered to say the same things as I did before, even without looking at the old script. This is an example of how HuHub's environments can alter people's moods through the visual message. This art wakes people up. Welcome to my digital vacation in the Mediterranean. I haven't had a real vacation since 2007, and that was paid for by my parents when we did an extended family vacation together in Florida. The real world is ugly these days, and this is where I find some relief. HuHub environments are meeting places online. Like the old technology chat rooms with text and webcam capabilities, HuHub meeting environments will allow for real-time communications. Yet HuHub's environments bring modern visual appeal, and I, for one, think this whole concept is pretty dreamy, especially since over the last couple of decades, I watched as the internet closed off communication between people. Social platforms were re-engineered to exclude live chat in real time, which is very important for human communication that is fluid like water. Although I could stay by the beach and watch the water all day and night, we must move on. To get things underway properly and respectfully to my guest, let me show you where you can refresh yourselves and change if you need to. Here are a couple dressing rooms for men. These are very light, open, airy spaces. Plenty of elbow room and easy to clean floors. These concepts can be applied to digital and real-world HuHub environments. In HuHub, people guide other people. Rather than bots be our guide, in HuHub, mentors receive merits for helping their apprentices, which is partly why I'm showing you where the head, bathroom, restroom, dressing rooms are for the females. When my husband saw this slide, he grumbled in a jealous tone, "The women have the better bathrooms." Then I tried to explain how these don't have big open windows to worry about when you're undressing, so it helps females feel more comfortable. Enabling your heart chakra outdoors, marketing and advertising ideas to be incorporated into HuHub materials are the symbols of concepts of heart, joy, and beauty, which is what we have here in yellow. HuHub programmers should understand that the words and colors are meaningful in so many ways that we cannot understand them all. Programmers must submit to be part of the karma rating system that is also tied in with HuHub merits so that their contributions will be rewarded and paid in the future with HuHub as part of their paid labor for programming HuHub. HuHub's karma rating is unlike the Chinese credit score or any other sliding scale measure or judgment. It is a meter that charts growth. Like a human, HuHub users grow up. And keep that in mind as we enter the meditation room. It also doubles as a greenhouse. We at Capetronics R&D Energy have always been ahead of our time. Former Homeland Security Naval Intelligence and Sheriff John Biddy said in 2012 on a phone with myself that this idea solved all the world's problems, which he did not think was possible, and that the concept was 100 years ahead of its time. Perhaps we were able to detour and get to the right answers quicker by keeping these HuHub principles in everything we do for work and humanity. I won't reiterate what I've already said about religion and metaphysical concepts in this video, but I will say that when all the ideas and theologies are boiled in one pot, these HuHub principles are the bits that matter. Humility and servitude to others, respect for others, mindfulness of others, and public modesty. Welcome to the training room. Please join the other plants who are trainees and new fish like yourselves. This will start our real training of what's about to happen as we unlock our world using HuHub software. I want to point out that the splash pattern of color presented in these architectural beauties is a good example of how OverUnity scatters light in visually pleasing patterns. Added to that, these examples added the color to specifically highlight the Fourier transform movements through these spaces. To the left, we have a little excitement from the team, and today we're learning about the name HuHub by breaking it down into the simplest linguistic parts and then defining what those mean. And our analysis of those elements help us to understand the bigger picture of the energy defined by language and speech. Oh wait, we're in the wrong room. This is for the programming team. And you're supposed to be on the marketing and sales team tour. Well, at least you can say you've seen the training rooms. Let's continue. Yep, this is the right door. It has to be unlocked first. Hang on. I'll unlock it as I talk. This is part 3, Unlocking HuHub World. Welcome to the bathhouses. These represent an incentive to HuHub users to help improve their economy in their real-world hubs. We feel it is important that people enjoy their world rather than be locked in their homes and separated into paid-only groups. So the pools will be open to all of the public free of charge. Remember, as I talked about in an earlier video, these architectural designs come from AI software that I was able to improve with scientist Brian Prater's formula for OverUnity, so that now the architectural lines are perfected, as you could see in the last video, Agnosis Part 13, through the crystal ball architecture that produced castles and ornate buildings that displayed the OverUnity formula through the medium. I say that because if you like these architectural designs in this video, most, but not all of these architectural examples should be useful to transition into real-world designs for actual future buildings. However, I also want it noted that without the OverUnity formula applied correctly for the purpose, the AI software, at least used to, produce impossible lines in the architecture, of which I noticed while looking at other AI artists' work generated on Midjourney by other people, where I had an account that closed months ago due to lack of funds. Yet I still work with other AI software for free nowadays. And Prater's formula has built-in AI characteristics, which is helping me unlock HuHub as it blossoms, just like it was crafted to do. This is a glimpse into some conceptual designs for Goodville's Wellness Center Turkish bath areas, featuring bathing, spas, and saunas. We believe these places will be of healing to others due to the communal atmosphere. The concept of Goodville was originally conceived as a singular town that supplied its own energy generation and distribution, food, water, housing, education, and so on. Nowadays, as we adapt with the shifting times as necessary, the concept could be used also as a marketing tool to get people interested in working within a network with other HuHub users and its looped framework that measures and distributes profits according to how much work is put into it. For example, looking at HuHub from the big tech picture, if one town or hub is generating a lot of profit for HuHub by getting more and more businesses into the network, then HuHub can measure that and give back accordingly, more so to that area which is working for it more than another area that isn't. This incentivizes people to act. When they can see what HuHub can do for the rural economies, more businesses in towns will want to be a part of that wealth redistribution for themselves. Like the pool, the bathhouse is a social place that is sometimes used for meetings, sometimes business ones, sometimes just with people around town. It's a good place to meet humans while the bots stay trapped in the game. There really is a God, and God does care about what is going on. That's the chatter, the word on the street. The name Who came to us in spring of 2010. Like the name, the bits and pieces of HuHub fell into our laps to be put together so that we can get it activated in the world. Maybe we are watching a movie. The movie of how everything came to be. But with this reset, perhaps we won't forget everything we learned if we live through it. This slide contains some cut and pasted notes that I thought were important for companies outside of HuHub to pay attention to as things come online. Eventually, that is, whenever this nightmare is over and we're all sitting around in towels and swimsuits, chattering with the other old biddies around town. We are what powers HuHub and Capetronics. And this artwork shows some proof and evidence of that, which uses both my husband's scientific work and formula for OverUnity, as well as my artistic education and skills, and then our combined understanding. This is how we formulated HuHub and help it unfold like a flower, which we saw in the beginning it would be this way, and iterated that in our world publications starting in 2012. Since this video uses some previously released content, I wanted to give the audience some things they haven't seen before, as well as show you another incentive that people could aspire to have HuHub build in their area, which is putt-putt or mini golf. These unique concepts are full of OverUnity and water. As part of the Water Lily series I was generating, AI art with various buildings and other designs, including mini golf, which the AI software could not seem to understand the nature of. So these are some of the better choices among what the AI gave me. Remember from previous videos, HuHub identifies critical needs, and as it grows will be able to give back into the areas and hubs that support it. The most basic human needs are of course the most important to ensure, such as those found on Maslow's hierarchy of needs for food, clothing, shelter. These aspects, to elevate humanity, must be addressed first. However, as we move forward quickly in a looped economy that we will be able to see abundance from, perhaps for the first time in human history using money, we will be able to achieve higher goals, such as could include these: bathhouses and mini golf courses, for example, in hubs everywhere. At this point, you can see why the military is the only way, because the global dominant forces would simply take their infrastructure back and say, we the people would have to come up with the tech for our own communication systems, rather than allow us to continue to use the web. As technologists, we've been fighting the nature of the beast that wants to take away our internet independence for a long time. I would like to remind them that it was built with tax dollars by the military, and as much as they charge for internet and cable, I don't think the shared wealth is going to hurt them much. And some may see HuHub as a threat or competition, but none of them are offering what HuHub can and will do if given the opportunity. Part 4. Goodwill Foods. The central energy of every community is food. Food production and its potential for abundant provisions, if maintained correctly, is the best security people can have and own. It makes sense to grow and eat locally grown foods. For foods that cannot be grown regionally, HuHub can provide optimized distribution methods for trade, because although HuHub seems like a global force, it is focused as a support system to grow local hubs and help them thrive all around the world. Goodwill Foods will promote nutrition and local food production, and it will be responsible for supplying food and meals, as well as improving and providing quality product services and distribution. The images in this section of the presentation for Goodville Foods are architectural designs generated with AI software for cafeterias and restaurants that feature the various colors you see here and other elements like artificial and real trees inside the spaces meant to be for real-world applications in Goodville or HuHub design cities. So these slides do not represent HuHub environments as we've been discussing in the last video presentation and this one. And we will continue to do so again after this section on Goodville Foods. Goodville will have a cafeteria which feeds the campus and schools and supports its operations through educational programs as well as offer meals to the public. Although I still haven't perfected the artwork and design, these are some concepts to apply to architecture inside the campus and community cafeteria, which feeds people for free or very affordably, depending on what the circumstances are involving supply and demand. These foods will be grown on site and for the most part, minus other foods that are limited to certain regions otherwise. This is a look at a concept for the various restaurants around town, one of which I want to call the aviary, featuring a separate but adjacent section for live birds in a mini rainforest that reigns for people's enjoyment while they wait for their meals with benches for seating and secure enclosure for the birds. Goodville will have its own greenhouses, and the students in the education systems will be involved in growing, harvesting, and preparing the foods as part of their various curriculum. We believe that this whole concept can make a huge difference in society and humanity's well-being in many ways. If this were offered where I live, I would have my favorite spot and be able to make friends and branch out into the world easier. This is a healthy way to make new relationships and build up people. I got roped into breaking up a fight in the cafeteria. We have quite the ordeal going on in here. They really like to cut up. On the right, you can see how OverUnity blends things together. The purple lilac tree is merged with the window framing. I like these examples that combine nature with the indoors, where a lot of us spend most of our time. I also find nature is soothing to view while I eat. Part 5, Campus Areas. One of the vital columns of Goodville is the education system from elementary and high schools to include a university for each site. Therefore, the education is focused on the local area and its needs. These architectural designs incorporate the color yellow and a greenhouse-like framework. These examples look fresh and clean, and I believe these spaces would inspire minds and energize souls. As an artist, naturally I love color, but most people are more interested in money. So here's some gooey revenue, dragon style. I think the typical college-age student may be inspired to be more creative and promote their artistic aspirations if they knew they could be rewarded for it somehow. If their time meant something and people could appreciate their work and get the return of energy from it. This idea, as described on this slide, would engage and reward such artists and designers who submit their customized environments in the correct format, of course, to HuHub as an item that could be purchased at HuHub. From a programming standpoint, these types of environments, as you see here, would have been nearly impossible to host on a large scale due to the limits of bandwidth and more in days long ago. But nowadays, this should not be a problem, and there are a variety of workarounds if needed, to include downloadable environments that could utilize the user's own computer resources for video streaming. Technically, though, just so you know and are not afraid of what I'm telling you, the driving actions in this slide are small animated GIFs that don't take up hardly any file space. So I think this is truly a doable option even on a large scale, especially if most environments are standardized as part of the software platform. Environments also open another revenue stream and engagement tool, which I think is hot and could quickly trend. I love this slide and the moving birds on the floor. I deactivated the chatterbox though, while trying to figure out which of the animations was hanging up my ability to compile this presentation into a PDF. It turns out that several of Microsoft's own animated 3D models cause problems when trying to compile them into PDFs or videos. I had a really cool cuckoo clock and bird that flew out on that last slide that I had to remove because of that problem. However, as you can see, presentation software has greatly improved. I remember what it was like before and what it is like after Microsoft's intelligence services are built in nowadays. AI has been encroaching into our lives for a long time. And at HuHub, we know it is useful. However, we want to keep it pretty much limited to running statistics, sorting through big data, and providing suggestions based on large data sets. This slide represents a hub's educational environment that delivers education category-related statistics. This hub environment offers widgets for chat, marketing and advertising for user-promoted businesses in that area hub, and other vital information such as the broadcast message about summer classes. The idea of showing before and after stems from the aspect of statistical data oversight that HuHub will emphasize. Some of the statistical data comes from the readily available sources such as the World Factbook at CIA.gov, which provides up-to-date statistics on all types of country, nation, population, and human data, like we saw in the last slide. Currently, in the real world, most statistics show problems across the board and are rather gloomy to look at. However, we feel it is important to monitor our progress in HuHub. As things improve, it should encourage others and help with the overall transition by allowing us to see the differences that may seem trivial at first. But that Venus flytrap is no trivial matter. It must have wormholed from the meditation room. This time it's blocking the hallway, which is beautiful if you can see it through all those vines. I hope those plants are hungry. At the top of this slide, the before and after logos are given for consumption. Don't you wish that all of our environments were as pleasing as these? I believe HuHub environments will inspire people to create spaces like these in the real world. These floor designs are not just scattered color. Rather, the yellow color represents the trace lines of Fourier transform within OverUnity behaviors. The beauty is very specific. which is why it is also so effective at altering our understanding of things like art, which are not divided from math and science. This marble building was a series of large shopping mall and large event facilities that I was generating. And this actually is some among a group that will appear in the upcoming sections for other buildings. But I thought these especially looked appropriate for an educational event facility like an auditorium or gymnasium. And at the bottom, the snippet of text from a quote by Brian Prater stating that beauty is a programmable section of defined points which are logically pleasing. Actually came from a document white paper from 2012, which was over 10 years before we were able to use AI software to generate art with Prater's formula. The fact of the level of insight we have is good to keep in mind when considering HuHub and its potential from the framework we put together. Prater and I see deeply into things long before we can pull any such evidence out to show anyone. But our time has come, and after many years and decades, we are able to show the world our vision for a future. Part 6. Shopping. This section for shopping could be much longer because one of the cornerstones of HuHub's economy deals with the business nethood. Yet this is already a long presentation and other ideas needed to be discussed as well. So this is just a synopsis of some key aspects and a look into the future. Also, in case someone wonders why they see the words bedroom and kitchen in the word cloud on the left, it's because it was generated from the words used in the video Architectural OverUnity Artistic Concepts, which featured home interior architecture and design OverUnity style. Some of these shopping mall concepts are visually difficult, and the added sparkling lights and moving background may require some people to look away, especially if you have a problem with seizures. On HuHub, there will be a button or user setting control to stop movements of backgrounds or other elements as part of being mindful of everyone that are affected in our shared environments. The message text on this slide comes from some older documentation of our thoughts and the obstacles we face and had to overcome in our development of the HuHub humanitarian software as a concept that will actually work for a viable future. Although the appearance will surely change drastically and probably be nothing like what you see here, this slide acts as a placeholder to show this page for a local hub sponsors, and this must exist in the standardization for local hubs. The information on this slide, however, does not represent any real business or product from that area. This is simply a mock-up display that I quickly put together. If you have been following the videos from HuHub on YouTube, then you may recognize some of the ideas expressed here as strategies for a new type of competition in the markets that could allow the people to have more control over monopolies and globalists. If not, I recommend Agnosis Parts 12 and 13 for more information on the competitive marketing strategies that we have for HuHub and a little bit more about the sponsors. As I have mentioned in the previous video, the metaverse is a concept that Facebook took from the book Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson, which I also read and adopted into my thinking for HuHub long before HuHub announced their idea to put VR headgear on us and hook us into the digital world while leaving our bodies behind. That is not our concept at HuHub. We live in the real world, and we use the digital environments also. So HuHub's vision of online shopping in the future opens a world like common and up-to-date gaming interfaces, whereby shopping malls would have items on shelves that can be inspected as if looking at it in a store by turning it around in a 3D-like space to see it from all sides and read the packaging. Purchases can be made from those type of environments in the same we already buy things online and pay into online games. Currently, eBay and Amazon sometimes have items that are accompanied with video to see items from various angles. So the 3D shopping world would need to provide more than what we already have available and be unique experience itself. I believe these artistic examples make good background environments for such unique experiences. HuHub can be built and start to generate an economy if we thread our efforts together in a polymath way of connecting fields of human resources and in a pay-it-forward manner whereby we act as stakeholders in our future, together building the software of which we will be able to reap the rewards from someday. That is how we at Capetronic still have hope, even after all these years of labor, while waiting for a harvest from the enormous amount of information we have and are continuing to provide to humanity. If you haven't already noticed, I do love color, as I may have mentioned many times before. But in the current political sphere, I want it noted that the many colors of our robes at HuHub have nothing to do with sex or gender preference. And for the record, this artist is reclaiming the rainbow because I need it to feed the OverUnity machine to generate these gorgeous modern art shopping mall examples that splash red and yellow on black and white marble with eye-catching perfection. If you don't believe me, that's what I believe happened to that guy bobbing in the middle. However, considering that I've heard too many people talk about the Vril and other alien ideas, I wouldn't want that to be part of the official marketing for HuHub. Part 7, Nightlife. We believe that dance was, is, and forevermore will be an important aspect of our lives, and it helps humans in so many ways to express ourselves artfully and fully through dance, as no other thing can. Just ask the birds and they'll tell you that dance is in the heart. Dance comes from the heart. Dance is in the heart, mind, body expression of itself in the universe, immersed in all that is and enjoying it, dancing in it, delighting in this place rather than suffering from it. So dance is how it should be, how it will be in HuHub world. I know these company names have trademark symbols that are not officially filed yet, but those are placed there as placeholders for those names so we don't get knocked off the shelf as we spread about the message of these great ideas that we would love to see in the future. Security begins before entering Dance Stop with wearable bracelet technology to be manufactured very cheaply in the future. Bracelet would be useful for various types of venues, especially crowded nightclubs, where members of groups often get separated and spend a lot of time trying to locate the other people when they could be having a good time wherever they are and still stay in touch with people in their groups without having to scream over a cell phone in the middle of a loud dance club. People could know where their family and friends are visually on the bracelet, which is like a bracelet, you just take it on and off. It would work throughout a nightclub or a larger area of a theme park, and it would be able to act as a locator for your drink and meals to be brought to you even as you move around. These could be made cheaply enough that they could be considered disposable if desired. The images you see in this slide and the ones coming up are from my mind stream. For the past 30 years, you are seeing my dream of a nightclub with an observatory ceiling and roof construction on the top floor restaurant and lounge area. But these happen to be presented in what looks like a lobby area, but it's what I get with the AI software. And the ones here on the right, you can see those are over restaurant areas. Microsoft PowerPoint wouldn't allow me to use its own 3D animated model of the solar system spinning around on this slide, which looks super cool, but the presentation would not compile or even create a PDF with it there. So what's new? Microsoft products are not compatible with Microsoft products. At Capetronics, we like to engineer things to work smoothly. We've given a lot of thought to DanceStop. One of the big features at DanceStop, among many, is Holodeck Entertainment, which is a future company that creates hologram experiences and perhaps whole simulations someday. An example of the holograms at DanceStop can be seen to the right, where some type of angler fish hologram pops out of the wall of the new fish bar and grill. Now that's some stick stomping. I'll save the fun facts about cost, revenue streams, and profitability for a later presentation if there's any interest and I'm still around to talk about it. We thread many of our ideas together like a long ball of yarn and keep spinning those around until they become something worth throwing. Here's one of my dreams, minus the cool holograms and other animations that won't work on this technology just yet. But great things like that are coming, and HuHub can be useful on the ground level of interaction with businesses everywhere, such as DanceStop. In conjunction with HuHub, could offer merit rewards, coupons, and other cross-platform marketing and advertising strategies. Part 8. Community Centers. The images you see in this section for community centers come from the same group of samples I produced with the AI-generated art program for the shopping malls. But some look more like community centers, and some look more like shopping malls. Either way, these are just some concept designs that make good art for this video to help unlock the HuHub world by inspiring people through beauty. This example of a colorful marble building is something to dream for, but the materials may need to be substituted for perhaps epoxy resin to save money and resources to accomplish more practical goals involved with a vision for HuHub centers and other community centers in Goodville and local hubs. This is just a bit of information for the record about the types of employees and duties to expect at HuHub centers. On a realistic level, HuHub centers will probably start out as rented office spaces in rural areas, but these are still amazing, colorful, and happy pictures to gaze upon as we dream together of our future. This video, I'm offloading some new information for the public that I've been holding on to for over a decade. I'm glad to be getting all of this off of my chest. I've been carrying the burden of this message for a long time, and I'm glad to be depositing it now at the correct time, because all the times before when I tried were not the correct time or the correct audience for it to be delivered. It had to be this way so that you could hear me, finally, and see the big picture and vision as we see it. So you can either thank or imprison the individual or groups responsible for the abstract way this message had to come to you. But I will let you decide who is who on those issues. I really love the font color on the title under the yellow crystal sculptures. This whole slide is just super gooey sleek. For these images, I used onyx, amber, and other medium. Cavetronic's dimensional art is a good example of what Brian Prater meant when he made the first quote in the list under the motto, saying, "Cover all angles to comb through all possibilities for humanity." So to compare what he said to this art seems to be, to me, a roundabout way of trying to change the world, especially when we're working for an energy company. But we tried those angles, all of them, everything we were given the opportunity to do. But none led us where we needed to be, and only drifted us in a direction of this way or another, in some other people's direction. It was only when we merged our many ideas and combed through all the angles were we able to see the different modes to carry forth with our mission and this message. Art is at the tip of the spear for us, which we hope people will want to buy someday. Currently, we don't have the money to start producing product other than digital images, some of which are listed on Etsy, but due to lack of interest, I may have to close the account rather than continue to spend money that I really don't have these days just to keep up the ads. We formalized the concept for HuHub out of our struggle to be heard and useful in this world. Yet we still exist and are proven to be difficult to kill. So we have to find some way to exist in a world that seeks our demise. And so HuHub allows people like us who are not driven by money to make money anyway, without having to compete for it like hungry rats or children fighting over candy from a piñata. We don't feel that we should have to compete to afford an existence, and HuHub's looped economy takes a bite out of a dog-eat-dog world. For a real-world and current example, these videos are being watched by important world leaders, and things are shifting because of the information delivered. Yet I have not made a dime for all the work put into them, and my subscribers have not even reached 40 people yet. By contrast, in HuHub, people like my husband and I would have a voice, a good karma rating, and probably a job, or at least the respect of our message and feedback that it was received. That is just something to keep in mind, how we feel things should work in the real world, and if nothing else, HuHub. With the summary, I thought this slide showing rain coming down in the shopping mall with buckets on the floor was pretty apt to describe the current state of affairs. To summarize this presentation, it gave a public view of our vision of the merger of nature and technology through digital and future real-world HuHub environments. We defined some of the strategies for sales and disclosed the future beyond just the making of the software, and how HuHub can help us unlock our world, starting at the local hub level and spreading that activity everywhere, while we watch our progress as we do great things before and after HuHub. Join us and talk directly to us at our channel on HuHub or YouTube. You can visit us at huhub.tech or huhub.world, both of which take you to the same place, which is a website that is still under construction, while I've been busy making these videos instead. As I stated earlier, if the information in this presentation has triggered something new in your mind and you are truly serious about helping, please contact us at Cavetronics R&D Energy, product owner of HuHub, of which software displays our combined artistic, communications, business, computer, networking, scientific, and math skills, to name a few things that go into the elaborate concept that is HuHub Humanitarian Software. The email address for Brian Prater is cavetronics@yahoo.com, and for me, email youpgotmail@gmail.com. We've come to the end of this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to take something useful from it, which may help us all in the long run. In the next video, we'll get deeper into HuHub NetHood, what that means, what it includes, how it works, and so on. To support this work, you can purchase digital art from Cavetronics Art on Etsy, which has a link available in our YouTube banner as shown here. Please also like, share, and subscribe to this channel to help our algorithms on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.